Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back. We got a bit of a later upload today, but today we are talking about still the potential for another upcoming major snowstorm. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Before we get started with the video though, if you guys have not already, please consider subscribing. It really does help my channel grow. I want to thank you guys so much for 2,000 subscribers. We've flown past, and hopefully we can hit our next goal of 3,000 subscribers soon. And also, to help this video reach more people, please consider liking and sharing it as well. And let's get into the video now. And again, if you guys could stay tuned for the whole video, that would mean a lot. And hey, if you don't stick around for the whole video, you might miss out on some great weather forecasting. Well, today we are talking about kind of like the storm that's happening now. We have Winter Storm Catherine that's happening now. And also discussing the latest that's what the storm's coming early to mid next week. Now, as of right now, the models are kind of bringing it down a level, but even if the storm from next week doesn't happen, there is still the potential for upcoming major snowstorms that we are tracking, and maybe this video can be like a precursor to what could happen further down the road. So, without further ado, let's get right into it here, and we have the winter alerts from the southeast. In case you don't know where I'm looking at right now, this is the National Weather Service from Greenville, South Carolina. So we got North Carolina and South Carolina in here, and there are still winter storm warnings. Places like Gatlinburg, Boone, Hickory, all right, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, are still under winter storm warnings. Let me actually give this a little refresh. All right, and yes, we've actually just been downgraded to advisories. All right, so yeah, so Boone, so that live update. So Boone, Asheville are still in the winter weather advisories. Winter storm warnings were canceled probably like just minutes ago because I kind of just set this up. All right, so yes, advisory or winter storm warnings have been dropped. And if you look at the radar, this storm is tapering down pretty quickly. The snow is tapering down pretty quickly. It's actually, the snow is kind of like transferring itself into like rain showers, so to speak. All right, well, so this is refreshed. So on the left, that's still the old map, but on the right, you can kind of see the snowfall totals. So again, in those higher elevations, yes, some areas have picked up 6-8 inches of snow. All right, in those higher elevations in the western part of North Carolina. All right, a couple areas got around 8 inches. Most people only got about a few. Even this storm could have been a major one for the southeast. Kind of like lost its energy. But again, we're gonna take a look at our daily updated oscillations. Again, here we have the PNA staying positive, all right, or at least pretty much staying positive through mid-January. If we look at the NAO, even though that's forecast to go up and then down again, it's still remaining below the zero line, just like it has been since like before the end of 2020, all right? So we've still been below on the NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation. But like I said, what really gets me is the Arctic Oscillation, how low this is going, right? Even though it's forecast to go back up, it's going to drop again, all right? And this is why we're talking about maybe the potential for a polar vortex, all right? And I think that could be a video that would be addressed further down the road as well. We look at the Climate Prediction Center. This is the forecast from them, the 16th through the 22nd. You can see the east, pretty much average temperatures, right? Nothing too far from normal. Matter of fact, the southeast may actually be a little bit cooler than average, while California is still remaining. I mean, the wildfires there are really a shame. Right? I mean, we got 60% chance of warmer temperatures. We got slight chance of warmer temperatures outside of that. Maybe a slight chance of warmer temperatures for places like New England. And like I said, the darker orange, this does not mean that California will be more above normal than, say, Maine. Right? The darker colors just mean there's like look at the map. That just means higher confidence. That doesn't mean California is going to be 30 degrees above average while Maine's only going to be 10. Right? That's not how it works. We're just saying that we have more confidence in that. All right. So if we look at the precipitation now, you can actually kind of see it might get interesting because look at the eastern seaboard, just how it lines up here. The eastern seaboard is actually in above average precip. So that's interesting. Maybe a storm could set up. Now, whether that storm would bring rain or snow, that we don't know yet. But the fact that we're seeing average temperatures and above average precip definitely does sign, all right, for the East Coast. That something interesting might happen. But California, yeah, it's still, we're talking about 60+% chance of drier conditions. northern plains, maybe above average, and even for the southeast, with the exception of southern Florida, above average precip as well. So let's get into some of the modeling now. And like I said, the modeling has been kind of dropping the storm a little bit, but guys, it's Friday, right? The storm is coming Monday through Wednesday. Like, the snow is just going to be entering Texas very late tomorrow night into early Sunday morning. It's going to enter Texas. So it only takes one model run, which they happen every 6 to 10 hours. We get new model runs-ish, around 6 hours. So it could change with one model run. I just want to say that, all right? So here's a GFS model. Again, the storm is there, right? We see the low. I mean, the low is there, all right? Sitting at about, I'd say, about 1,018 millibars of strength. They are pointing out some snow in the places like West Virginia, all right, places like the Appalachian Mountains, all right, and then the low kind of boots itself off. But I actually am going to be flipping now. All right, you'll see me flipping back and forth between these maps. We're actually going to go now to the South Central just to see how much, because Texas could get a lot of snow from this as well. So we can't leave Texas out of this. All right, so we're going to take a look at what could happen for the East, and then we're going to take a look at what could happen for Texas. All right, so here we are in Texas, and look at this. There's going to be a pretty big stripe, right? Farther south than you might think, especially around Lubbock and Abilene could get some of the worst of it. And even some of the magentas you see here, right? That is your really heavy snow that we're seeing. And actually, I think I might actually focus in on Texas for right now for this video, because that's where the threat is more imminent as of right now. But look at the snow. Still, look at Sunday at 2 p.m. All right, the snow is still there, and then kind of does wind away with a couple flurries for Louisiana, Mississippi, but the European model, as you'll see later on, does show something a bit different for that region. All right, so here we have some of the snowfall totals for Texas, and as you can see, it could be quite a hefty amount in some places according to the GFS model here, right? We do have actually 10 inches lining up right in the middle of Texas there, kind of near Abilene, but overall, Lubbock to Abilene here, kind of like your target zone. I would say in this area, probably 6 and upwards of 10 inches of snowfall right in this zone, and this will probably be your target zone. All right, models seem to be agreeing at this point. I think that's your 6 to 10 inch, which that's a lot in general. 6 to 10 inches is a lot of snow in general, but for this far south latitude for Texas, all right, that's like getting buried in a blizzard for these guys. All right, so I'm sure I'm not saying all Texans like snow, but I'm sure some people there are going to welcome the snow. It's like a nice change, you know, since this far south in Texas doesn't see it quite that often. All right, so European models next. Now, this is interesting, all right? So, again, we kind of got two pieces of energy, right? We got the moisture coming out from the south, and we got the disturbance itself kind of riding in from the north. So, eventually, these two will kind of, if you will, they will kind of collide, and there you can see we got the rain still in the south, and we got some heavier snow to the north, where it is cold enough. Now, good news with this, all right, and I think when we do our next update on this, we'll kind of take a look at the temperatures a bit more, all right, because if I were to do that today, this video would be a half hour long, and I know you guys do not want to watch that, all right, but temperatures, I can tell you guys, for most of this region, are going to be pretty marginal. And I think in sense of road travel, when we look at it from that perspective, I think that's kind of good news. 35, I looked like Abilene will be like above freezing for much of the event. So for the snow to actually stick on the road, it's got to be falling really heavy. They got to have those big wet snowflakes, and they got to fall very heavily and quickly for it to stick, but mostly on the grassy surfaces, right? At least there won't be that much trouble traveling, but that leads to the next point, though. After the snow event, like Abilene and surrounding regions, after the snow are actually forecast to drop to freezing, if not below that. Actually, let me get a temperature graphic loaded up here so I can kind of show you guys what the temperatures might look like. All right, so here we are at the European model once again. All right, so again, so let's go back to the European model. So the snow kind of starts, like you can see, it's still going through Sunday at 2 p.m., right? We got Monday at 8 p.m., right? So we go to Monday at 8 p.m., or excuse me, Sunday at 8 p.m., I'm sorry. All right, and you can see temperatures overall are still marginal, but you can already see where the snow has just been. All right, let me go back to, all right, so I can make my point here. So you can see right in this region, all right, in Texas, where the snow has kind of just ended, all right, you look at the temperature graphic, right, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The snow has just ended. The roads are probably still wet because it was above freezing most of the time, and now we're between 30 and 31. So this could be one of those you know, black ice scenarios, and that's never a good thing. So hopefully we'll get more in-depth with temperatures in the next video. All right, but as we get into these snowfall totals with the European model, not quite. I mean, actually probably the same as the GFS. I would say maybe even a bit further south, kind of like the snow coverage is kind of expanded a little bit, so a little bit wider region of 6 to 10 inches, but also maybe as much as 4 to 7 inches or 4 to 8 inches from northern Louisiana, even eastern Texas as well. I actually include eastern Texas as well. We got about 4 to 7 plus inches in this area here, and then we kind of got 6 to 10 in this area there. So still a couple of areas of pretty heavy snowfall. Without a doubt, probably for well, I wouldn't say without a doubt because anything can still happen. But for Texas, central and western Texas at this point, it does look like you're gonna have a lot of spots at least 5 inches, at least a few inches. It's enough to go sledding in for most spots. I would definitely say that. Now the Canadian model is our next model. All right, so you can kind of see the 540 line, how it kind of just drops its way south. The cold air is already coming in. So the cold air kind of comes in along with the storm system, and that's our issue here. For those of you that like the snow to stick on the roads, that's kind of our issue, right? Like the 540 line, you can see that really cold air comes in as the precip arrives. Like there's no major cold air mass already in place. And I think that's going to be our main issue here, and that's why I said some snow may not stick on the roads. But you look at the Canadian model, and look at a lot of heavy snow for that northeastern and even central eastern corner there of Texas. And even still, northern Louisiana, northern Mississippi, right? And even around Texarkana, all right? Because look, the low is basically right around New Orleans and off the coast, all right? And we even have the 534 line. The 540 line is like that kind of cold air. Then the 534 line is even more cold air coming in, and that's going to reinforce some snow in places like Texarkana. You can still get some snow out of that as well. And then it's all set and done. So Canadian model still does put a lot for, you know, Lubbock, Abilene-ish area, but a lot of the heavier snow, we're talking about not 6 to 10, but 6 to 12 inches, upwards of 12 inches, all right, kind of in this region here. So just south of Texarkana, we got northwestern Louisiana, northeastern corner of Texas included. There's one little dot, if you could see right here, of 12 inches. That one little red dot in eastern Texas, and that's 12 inches. So, but overall, on a more broader perspective, 6 to 12 inches, and you can still see northern Mississippi could get 3 to 5. Even western central Tennessee could get 1 to 3 as well. I don't know if that's from this system alone. Yeah, it is. It's from this system alone. So 1 to 3, even for places such as central western Tennessee. Memphis could even get a couple inches according to this model. Now, our V16, our parallel GFS, I'm interested to see what these guys think because they've been kind of back and forth. They're a back and forth model in general. All right, but it's still a good model to look at, kind of like a parallel version of the GFS. So here we are, again, very heavy snow for that western part of Texas around Lubbock. Kind of falls towards Abilene. We even got Dallas at this point. All right. Now keep in mind that the metropolitan area might be a degree or two warmer than you might think, so that might help in a sense of the snow not sticking as much. But look at southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, still in that moderate to heavy snow. All right, and then very heavy snow actually. Look at that little magenta pocket there in Mississippi. That's very important, right? What are the banding features set up, right? Winter Storm Gale, for where I am, was supposed to be I wouldn't say a bust, but it really wasn't going to be much, and we ended up with about 6+ inches because of where the banding's set up. So it really, you're not going to know for sure, especially what I've learned with these recent winter storms, you're really not going to know for sure until the storm is literally on top of you and the storm is literally like impacting you. That's when you're really going to know for sure, all right? Even with all the great technology we have these days, right? It could still change as the storm is arriving. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now look at the snow totals here. We got more widespread 6 to 12 inches. Right. It's kind of this whole entire zone now, not two separate areas. I mean, we got northwestern, we got central Texas, eastern Texas, all the way through northern Louisiana, spotty areas of 6 to 12, with the 8 to 12 region, like that bullseye region, right there in central eastern Texas, kind of like near or south or just southwest of Dallas. All right, there's a slightly bigger region of 12 inches, slightly bigger red dot there, right in the middle of Texas, where you could get a foot. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone got out of this storm with a foot of snow. It wouldn't surprise me, but look for some spotty areas that could get double digits. And our last model for today is going to be the UK MET model. Now, Again, we just have the snowfall map with this one. A little bit later on the totals, right? Some models go a little bit higher, some models go a little bit lower, right? That's kind of what you want. You can get a good average out of them. All right, models are allowed to disagree with each other. But we got 4 to 8 inches lining up here, even with this model. So all the models here that are going over, the lowest ones for places like Lubbock, places like Abilene, Texas, probably north of College Station, right? And even in parts of eastern Texas, just south of Texarkana. The lowest I've seen the models for you guys is like 4 or 5 inches is the lowest I've seen. All right, so just keep that in mind. Expect weather alerts to be issued very, very soon, if not out now. Stay tuned for updates. I am the Weather Dude, signing off till next time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.